I started off, as Annie, we were talking at my table, that I was, as a teenager, I was modeling, and I had 2 years of college. I didn't plan on being in real estate. And I had enough clientele, so I ended up moving to New York City to further my modeling career. And I met a man there that I fell madly in love with, and he was very successful, and I thought, boy, this is my prince, and it turned into a disaster. He was a very physically abusive man. I was hospitalized a number of times, and it really took its toll effect on me as a woman and psychologically, and what would happen. And I was trying to come out of that and recover. My career was dying after that relationship because of all the excuses I had made up why I couldn't work certain days. But then, and as time went on, I started to work with someone and got a little open to real estate. A friend of mine said, come work with him. And I met someone else. And this next person, relationship I had, I fell madly in love, and I never thought I could have children. And I found out that I was pregnant. And when I told him, we had a year and a half of a relationship, he said, "I'm sorry, honey, you're on your own." So we, to this day, have never spoken. So I had this baby, and I had to figure it out, and I had to get out of New York City and figure out what my life was going to be. A friend of mine said, "Well, why don't you move to Los Angeles and come to work for this cosmetic company?" So I thought, well, okay, it's a job and a salary, and I'll start there. And I hadn't been back in Los Angeles in about 12 years. So I came back, and I leased my apartment out in New York, and I came back with nothing but my baby and a few personal things, and lived in a friend's lower duplex. And I had enough money for probably 2 months and to survive. And just about 2 months, they said, "I'm sorry, you have no job." So a friend of mine said, I'm like crying, going, "Oh my God, what do I do? I have a broken down Volkswagen. I don't know anything about business." A friend of mine said, "You'll go into real estate." And I was thinking, real estate? Real estate? I don't know anything about real estate. I don't know anything about contracts. I don't know anybody. I mean, what am I going to do with that? So, and I didn't have the money to have a babysitter. So I met a neighbor who I started this thing called trading hours. We traded hours. She had a baby, I traded with her, she traded with me. I would take her kids, and I worked it out all around getting my license at night. And I found someone who would take me just before my license was through, where I could go and start to learn the real estate business. So I had a big wooden brown desk, and I could bring my baby there every day after 3 o'clock, and she'd sleep under my desk. So she slept under my desk, and I had this Volkswagen. I was always praying the thing wouldn't break down. I was always overheating and trying to juggle all this stuff. And I kept some money I had in the bottom of a sack. That was my bank account. I used to put a piece of paper in the bag as I took out money out of this little bag that I had in the bottom of my closet. And there's so many more of these kinds of stories that are all through my book that tell how I raised a baby and my business. As I was building my business, it was really hard, but to this day, whenever I go on a showing, people say to me, "How's your daughter?" Because my daughter literally lived on my hip, on my back, in front of me. I used to say that when I go on a listing appointment, when I forgot my first one, I was walking up these stairs, and I had my baby on the shoulder, I had the diaper bag on the shoulder, I had the briefcase in front of me, and I had high heels on. And I'm walking up the stairs to his office, and my right shoe heel completely broke off. And I walk in there going, "Oh no," and I got all this stuff, and I'm not even thinking how I must look walking in with all this stuff. I'm thinking about my shoe, as girls do. So I walk in, and the receptionist, she says to me, "Oh, he's ready to see you right now." And I'm like, with the baby and the thing and the shoe, one shoe off. And then the man's assistant came out, and he said, "Oh, his office is right this way." And I'm like walking down the hallway going, "What am I going to do?" So I reached down, and I got the baby like this. I reached down, and I pull off the other shoe, stuff it in the diaper bag, go into his office, my first listing appointment, and scoot in front of the desk, and I go, "Oh, my babysitter was sick. I'm really sorry, but my babysitter was sick," which wasn't true. So I put everything down on the floor, and I'm thinking I'm in my stocking feet. We wore stockings at that time, and we had our talk, and everything was fine. Then he came around the desk, and he saw me stop. He looked down at my feet, and I said, "Well, nothing stops me." So he laughed. He gave me my first opportunity. Thank you. He gave me my first opportunity, and just kind of built from there, as we all know. And it just, my journey was hard. And I hired my first assistant when I made my first check because I didn't pay the IRS. So I kept that money, and I was like, well, I have to hire somebody to help me to do something. But that had its later consequences, of course, when they came after me for 2 years. But you learn as you go along, I guess, a lot of things. Anyway, I built a business now, and there are 15 of us. My business does about $150 million a year. Maybe not this year, but it has. And I've just kept growing my business 20%. Thank you. Thank you. I've been a single mom all this time, and we were talking about that because sometimes you get your life so filled up with your kids and things and your business and all that, and you forget about yourself a little bit. I'm sure some of you can relate to that. But I kept growing my business. I always had a vision board. A vision board was really important to me. I wrote my book with 2 5-foot by 5-foot vision boards because I always have to get something out of my head and get it up on a board. It's either something I want, something I'm thinking, because they all get scrambled up in my brain at least. And so if I can put them up there, another time I can organize my thoughts so that I can start to make sense of what my goals are, where I'm going, what I want, and that's how I get myself organized. You're simply